right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
A palatable President's Day. The big changes coming to the middle and end of this week.
Social Security checks. We know every year there's a cost of living adjustment. But do recipients get an additional bonus this year? We verify. But first tonight, a 15-year-old murdered during an attempted robbery in St. Charles.
It certainly wasn't a random act.
The suspects police are trying to find. Good evening, I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. The shooting happened last night in a residential neighborhood near the intersection of Oak and Perry. A 17-year-old boy drove the girl a few blocks away to St. Joseph's Hospital, where she died. Our Laura Barczewski talked with investigators tonight. Laura.
Mike and Ann, St. Charles police tell me both teens are from Lake St. Louis. They went to that intersection to meet two men who suddenly opened fire. While they are still investigating what that meeting was about, they believe this was not a random attack.
It wasn't like these teenagers were just driving down a street and were just haphazardly approached by these individuals.
St. Charles police say just before 9 o'clock Saturday night, a 15-year-old girl and 17-year-old boy drove to St. Charles to meet two men near Oak Avenue and Perry Street.
When they arrived at that location and were approached by the two individuals, they announced their intent to rob them. One of the subjects pulled out a handgun.
That's when investigators say one of the men opened fire on the teens in the car, hitting the girl in the chest. The 17-year-old sped off and drove directly to St. Joseph's Hospital, where the young girl ended up dying from her injuries.
The parents of the teenagers have been contacted and being interviewed by the police department.
Lieutenant Tom Wilkeson says they're still trying to learn more about why they were meeting these two men and what exactly happened when it took a turn.
I don't have ages or real good descriptions other than it was a white male and a black male. They were not in a vehicle. They approached on foot. We were canvassing the area looking for any residential surveillance video, business surveillance video.
Wilkeson says violent crime is not typical for this neighborhood.
St. Charles is not immune to violent crime, as evidenced by this incident. It disturbs us that it happens here. We're parents ourselves. We live in this community. And we are going to be relentless in our pursuit to identify the people responsible, arrest them, and see that they're prosecuted.
I went to the neighborhood earlier tonight. The neighbors we talked with say they were not home at the time of the shooting. Police are asking for anyone with surveillance video near Oak Avenue and Perry Street to send it to them as soon as possible. You can reach detectives at 636-949-3309. Mike.
Laura, thanks. Tonight, a 16-year-old girl is recovering after she was hit by a car during a crash in downtown St. Louis. We're told the teen suffered critical injuries to her legs. Now, this happened last night at the intersection of St. Charles and 11th Streets. Police say a gray Audi did not yield and collided with another car before hitting the girl and another car. The driver of the Audi was arrested. No one else was seriously hurt.
Tonight, 4 people are recovering after a shooting inside and outside of a downtown nightclub. It happened last night at the Bismarck The Spot near Tucker and Locust. According to police, a man opened fire after a fight with security guards. One person was critically hurt. 3 others suffered graze wounds. Police are still looking for the suspect. Tonight, 2 15-year-old boys are in juvenile custody accused of carjacking a man at gunpoint. It happened yesterday morning outside Abbott EMS. That's off Southwest Avenue in the Ellendale neighborhood. Police later tracked down the stolen car and took the teens into custody. Investigators also say they recovered a weapon.
Now to a live look over downtown St. Louis tonight. It was another February Sunday in the 60s, and many of you are off for President's Day tomorrow. So what can we expect? Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joined us now with the weather first forecast.
Mike, we started out this morning with plenty of sunshine around St. Louis. Then during the afternoon, the clouds rolled in, and we've been looking at those clouds streaming across our skies here through the evening hours and now starting to go into the overnight. No rain out of the clouds for us yet, but tomorrow it's kind of a reverse process. We're going to be watching those clouds get out of here early in the morning. Some mid-level moisture showing up on the radar screen north of Columbia, Missouri right now, but that's aloft and probably isn't reaching the ground. Got a couple of spritzes and light showers out there west of Kansas City. Again, the air is very dry, so we're anticipating the chance for a spot shower or a few sprinkles overnight tonight. Temperatures are going to hold in the mid-30s in the coldest spots to lower 40s by tomorrow morning. And then as we go through tomorrow, we expect the clouds to break up pretty quickly. And that means another very mild day on the way for St. Louis. At lunchtime, we'll be approaching 60 degrees and back into the low 60s for highs tomorrow afternoon. There will be big changes, though, coming our way towards the middle of the week. We're getting into that in about 12 minutes, Mike.
All right, Scott, thanks. Well, the Battlehawks are back, and their comeback ended with a dramatic comeback. Down 12 points, they came back in the last 90 seconds for an 18-15 victory over San Antonio. With the Battlehawks on the road, a watch party was held at Ballpark Village. A large crowd turned out. The Battlehawks were a success story in the XFL's inaugural season in 2020, but the league went bankrupt because of the pandemic. Fans and downtown bars are excited to finally have the team back.
We are thrilled to have all the fans back here at Ballpark Village and have football on the biggest screen right here in St. Louis. And everyone is super excited, super awesome to see touchdowns, tackles, 2-point conversions, all the above.
The Battlehawks' first home game at the Dome is not until Sunday, March 12th. Sports Director Frank Cusimano will have much more coming up later on Sports Plus.
A mobile clinic to address drug overdose deaths is set to open soon, and it would be the first of its kind in the state of Missouri.
The goal is to increase access to care and save more lives. 5 on Your Side's Mercedes McKay got a tour today.
We're trying to make it as easy as possible for individuals to get treatment today.
It was a dream that Aaron Laxton has been carrying with him for a while now.
So we really like to think of this first section as our reception area.
A clinic that has all the resources someone would get in an actual doctor's office, but on wheels and into areas that need it most, based on data from public health officials and listening to local leaders.
What this unit will do is it's going to put it into communities that may not otherwise have easy access to treatment options.
As the executive director of ARCA, Laxton worked with his team and several other community partners on pilot missions. Chief Operating Officer Sunil Menzies says they immediately noticed trends throughout the process.
The closer you got to the city, you began to see the need and the demand for services, or on the flip side, the lack of access, really increase and increase and increase.
That need only growing more in the northern parts of St. Louis and disproportionately affecting African American communities. Menzies says nearly half of drug-related overdose deaths in the state are happening right in the St. Louis metro area.
The immediacy of death that now results from this version of the opioid epidemic, one that fentanyl is front and center of everything, has created a really different problem.
This truck also hopes to provide peer support services, behavioral health services, and more.
Mental health and substance abuse is not something that people go out and talk about. It's not a good restaurant. It's not a great orthopedic surgeon. And so it is a very quiet, personal type of illness.
It's an illness that Laxton knows all too well.
I have 3 family members who I've lost to fentanyl overdose. Folks would have saw me years ago. I wasn't the person I am now. I was using more than I wasn't.
But because someone believed in him, Laxton doesn't want to give up on anyone else.
How I'll know this truck is a success is if we don't have any more family members that are dying, any more community members that are dying.
The walk-in clinic is completely free, no insurance is required, and no appointments are necessary. Right now, they're planning a soft launch on March 6th. Once fully operational, anyone will also be able to request the truck for an event or at a specific location.